Good morning. I'm glad to see everybody here. I'm told that we are predominated by the Western Cape. We have University of Stellenbosch, we have UCT, we have the MRC, we have UNISA who is omnipotent, all over, omnipresent, and University of Western Cape. Am I right? Have I missed anyone? UWC, Stellenbosch, UCT, UNISA. Who am I missing? Okay, cool. That's nice. So I'm very glad to be here, and I'm very excited about this process. And one of the things that I've instructed my colleagues to do, that the Medical Research Council does need an institutional position on decolonisation as it relates to health science. And that is an imperative that we need to achieve, and hopefully this will be the beginning of a discussion so that we can present our position statement to the board and our primary, which is the Department of Health. So I think this is a great way to start. We know that health in South Africa is contextualized in the socio-political and economic conditions, and that we can't divorce health and medical science from the burden of disease that we have in South Africa that spans everything from HIV and TB to road injuries, and interspace with things like non-communicable diseases like diabetes. And so we have to contextualize how we frame what is medical research and what is health research in our condition, in our country, with our citizens. And we have to come up with a medical and health research agenda that is applicable and pertinent and makes impact on the citizens of South Africa first and foremost, beyond and including the borders of beyond our borders in Africa and then in our global context. And so we have great abilities in South Africa to address some of the most important health questions that affect us at a global level, but are also incredibly important at a local level. And so it's very exciting to think that the MRC, as the custodian and steward of medical science and medical research, can start to think about what this means in South Africa and how we approach the challenges of our past and how we phrase health and medical research in a new manner that takes into account colonization, decolonisation, and transformation. And one of the big things that I hope to achieve at the Medical Research Council is a transformed Science Council, and also a Science Council that has diversified who it funds, where it funds, and how it funds, and addresses the issue of building scientific capacity that is diverse and sustainable. And I'm proud that we've already moved that way, and we have a lot of very exciting programs. And one of the most important things about being the president is the ability to be replaced. And so I'm also committed to replacing myself and replacing our executives in a way that reflects more the diversity of South Africa. And so hopefully that'll be my legacy, to be replaced and to replace our executive by an executive that understands and reflects some of the complexities of our country. And so I do hope that some of the stuff that you will address today and you'll start to think about, because the Medical Research Council has to think about that. And that is, as Kopana has said, how are Africans and Africa served by health and social research conducted in Africa? And how do we address our burden of disease, but remain globally relevant? How do we make sure that our burden of disease is addressed and not dominated by Western funding or funding that comes from outside our borders? With our little voice and our little money, how do we still remain in control of our research agenda and our burden of disease, which is very important? And how do we ensure the pipeline you spoke about being do something? And Elon Musk and Professor Mokgoba have one thing in common, and that is they want a future with hope. They don't want the future to be sad. And I think if we can all think about, like, we don't want the future to be sad, we can move forward. And I'm sure you know Professor Mokgobo was inspired by Steve Biko growing up at medical school at UKZN. He learned one thing, and that was one of Steve Biko's learnings about learn to think for yourself, and learn to contextualize your issues, because however you contextualize it, you can only make impact and be great. And so I am excited that this is going to happen, and I'm charging Violence, Peace and Injury to be my custodian of developing the institution's position on decolonisation. And I have said we have a 6-month time frame for that, and aim to have that ready by the end of the year. So thank you very much.